Stop, right now, just pause everything, breathe deeply, really feel that breath entering your body, filling your lungs, and then slowly releasing. Let it ground you in this very instant. And in this quiet space you've created, I want you to confront a question that has the power to upend everything you think you know about your life. What if the relentless pursuit you're locked into, the endless grind of chasing goals, the constant need to prove your worth, the never-ending quest to become some better version of yourself, is actually the very chain that's preventing you from truly living the life that's already yours? What if all this striving, this perpetual becoming, is nothing more than a clever distraction, a self-imposed barrier that's delaying the moment you finally allow yourself to simply be, to embrace the powerful, complete being you already are, right here and right now in this imperfect, beautiful present? Let me paint a vivid picture for you, because I know this hits home for so many of us. Most people, perhaps you included, spend their days trapped in a frantic, exhausting race. They're sprinting toward an imagined future self, a version of themselves they believe will finally grant them permission to feel whole, to feel worthy, to feel like they've made it. They push harder than ever, sacrificing the things that truly matter. Their sleep becomes a luxury they can't afford, their relationships turn into afterthoughts, their inner peace gets traded away like a cheap commodity, all in the desperate chase of that elusive day when they can finally stop running, breathe out a sigh of relief, and declare to the world and themselves, I've arrived. This is it. But here's the cruel, heartbreaking irony that the ancient Stoics understood so profoundly: that day never truly dawns. The goalposts, they shift eternally, don't they? What seemed like enough yesterday, maybe that promotion, that body transformation, that financial milestone, suddenly morphs into not quite enough today. And just like that, you're back on that invisible treadmill, your legs burning, your spirit drained, yet somehow unable to step off because the momentum of the chase has become your entire reality. You rise each morning with that sinking, gnawing sense of falling behind, as if life is a competition and everyone else is secretly winning while you're still fumbling at the starting line. You can't help but compare yourself to the curated illusions of others' lives, the highlight reels on social media, the success stories whispered in conversations, always measuring yourself short, not wealthy enough to feel secure, not fit enough to feel confident, not charismatic enough to feel connected, not accomplished enough to feel proud, simply not enough in some indefinable way that eats at your core. And lurking beneath it all, like a shadow you can't quite shake, is this quiet, persistent dread that real life, the vibrant, meaningful kind, is unfolding elsewhere, for everyone else but you. They're out there experiencing joy, purpose, fulfillment, while you're sidelined in a holding pattern, waiting for your turn to begin. Waiting to be fully prepared, waiting to be undeniably deserving, waiting for some external stamp of approval, a degree, a relationship, a bank balance, that finally whispers, yes, you matter now. But let me shatter that illusion for you with a timeless truth that the ancient Stoics, thinkers like Marcus Aurelius scribbling in his tent during brutal wars, or Epictetus rising from the chains of slavery to philosophical mastery, lived and died by. It's the waiting itself that's eroding your spirit, that's slowly killing the fire within you, not the obstacles you face, not the setbacks that life throws your way, but this self-imposed delay in claiming your inherent victory, your right to live fully without apology or postponement. The Stoics, in their profound wisdom forged through unimaginable hardships, taught us that true triumph isn't something deferred to some perfect, distant tomorrow when you've achieved enough, fixed enough, or become enough to earn the right to feel victorious, to breathe freely, to find peace. No, victory is yours to seize right here, in the raw chaos of the present, through a profound, fundamental shift in perspective, not some fluffy blind optimism or superficial positive thinking, but a grounded, unshakable recognition that the real battle, the only one that truly matters, is the one raging within your own mind. And guess what? You've already been equipped with everything you need to win it: your reason, your resilience, your choice in how you respond to the world. This isn't just empty motivation or fleeting hype designed to pump you up for a day before fading away. This is Stoic wisdom, battle-tested in the arenas of real life. You've been ensnared by societal rules, invisible scripts engineered by cultures, media, and expectations to keep you doubting yourself, striving endlessly, and forever feeling inadequate, like you're one more accomplishment away from being worthy. But the moment you see those rules for the illusions they truly are, fragile constructs built on sand, you can step out of the game altogether. You can choose to live with the unshakable calm, the quiet strength of one who knows the war is already won, because victory isn't about external conquests, it's about internal mastery. Today, I'm arming you with 10 timeless Stoic truths that will completely rewrite how you perceive your existence, your daily choices, your entire path forward. These aren't abstract philosophies to ponder idly over coffee or tuck away for someday. They're practical, razor-sharp tools, battle-tested by emperors, slaves, and sages alike, designed to transform your daily reality if you apply them relentlessly, day in and day out. How you face uncertainty in a world that's always changing, how you navigate the pressures that threaten to crush you, how you redefine what success and failure even mean, all of it shifts dramatically when you internalize these truths. If you're weary of that nagging, persistent sense of insufficiency, like you're always playing catch-up, this is your call to arms. If you're done deferring your life to an unattainable future where everything magically aligns, this is your awakening, your moment to break free. If you're prepared to cease the exhausting performance, the masks, the facades, and embrace authentic existence in all its messy glory. Anchor yourself here with me. Every syllable that follows, every idea I am about to unpack, is crafted meticulously to dismantle the invisible cage you've been inhabiting, perhaps without even realizing it. Before we dive deeper into these transformative truths, pause and take action right now. Strike that like button if this is already stirring something deep within you. Share this video with a soul who's equally trapped in the endless chase, someone who needs this reminder as much as you do. Subscribe to the channel, because the wisdom unfolding here isn't just content, it's a lifeline to lasting freedom. And make a commitment to yourself. No skipping ahead, no distractions. Stay with every word. If this resonates in your core, if it's already awakening that dormant strength inside, declare it boldly in the comments below. I am already victorious. Now, let's forge ahead together. First truth, stop auditioning for a life that was never on loan to begin with. It's been yours from the very start. Imagine yourself as the lead actor in the grand, unpredictable play of existence, yet every single day, you find yourself rehearsing lines you think others want to hear, perfecting gestures to win approval, and begging for validation as if the role isn't already cast in your name. The Stoics, like Seneca in his profound letters on the shortness of life, reminded us time and again that existence itself is the ultimate, unconditional gift. No fine print, no auditions required, no trials to prove your worthiness. You're not on some cosmic probation in this world. Your mere presence, your consciousness awakening each day, is the unqualified entry ticket to the human experience. Yet how often do you dim your own light to fit into shadows? In everyday conversations, you hesitate, biting back words that burn to be spoken, fearing judgment or rejection. You minimize your triumphs, downplaying achievements that took blood, sweat, and tears, all to avoid seeming boastful or arrogant in the eyes of others. You apologize profusely for existing boldly, for taking up space in a room, for having opinions that might ruffle feathers. You perform tirelessly, day after day, for scraps of validation, likes, nods, compliments, from those who are far too entangled in their own auditions, their own insecurities, to truly see or appreciate the real you. This constant performance, it drains your essence, doesn't it? It's a needless, soul-sucking expenditure of your vital energy, energy that could be directed toward creation, connection, or simply being. Recall the ancient parable of the emperor who, in a moment of folly, disguised himself as a pauper and wandered through his vast realm. He spent days bowing to his own subjects, craving their nod of worth, hoping they'd recognize his hidden royalty, only to realize, in a flash of insight, that the true folly was forgetting his sovereign identity in the first place. That's the insidious trap so many fall into, seeking external affirmation for an internal throne you never actually vacated. You're the ruler of your own domain, yet you act like a beggar at the gates. Living as a Stoic victor means reclaiming that throne right now, not after you've piled on more accolades, not after you've molded yourself into some altered form, but in this raw, unpolished, present version of you. You are a sentient force, a conscious being navigating the vast, unpredictable human realm, with intrinsic value that remains untouched by the fleeting ups and downs of fortunes, opinions, or circumstances. There's absolutely no need to audition for affection that should be freely given, for esteem that's rightfully yours, for chances that align with your path, or for inclusion in circles that can't see your light. Present yourself wholly, without a single apology, and those who discern your true worth, they'll align naturally, the rest will fade into irrelevance, and that's their loss, not a reflection on you. This truth doesn't mean you halt your growth or stop improving, far from it. Growth is a Stoic virtue, a lifelong pursuit, but it means you do so without the heavy chains of awaiting external permission to occupy your rightful space in the world. Cease shrinking yourself to make others feel comfortable at your expense. Cease performing for selection when you've already selected yourself as worthy. The role is yours by birthright, embody it with purpose, with intention. Step from the shadows onto the full stage of your life, not with empty bravado or lingering regret, but with the serene, unshakable assurance of someone who knows, deep in their bones, that they belong. Affirm this foundational truth in the comments below. I belong here. Second truth, your peace is the only thing truly yours in this chaotic world, guarded like oxygen in a raging storm. Because without it, everything else loses its meaning. In the Stoic worldview, as Epictetus so powerfully proclaimed in his Enchiridion, we control not the events that swirl around us, not the actions of others, but our responses to them, and at the pinnacle of that control stands your inner tranquility, your mental fortress. All else in life, your wealth that can vanish in a market crash, your bonds that can fray with time, your prospects that shift with the winds, can be bartered, compromised, or lost, but your inner peace. That's sacred ground, non-negotiable territory that you must defend at all costs. Yet how readily, how thoughtlessly, we surrender it every day. For the sake of financial gain, we endure soul-crushing toil that leaves us hollow. For social acceptance, we swallow insults and criticisms that wound our spirit. In relationships, we tolerate chaos and drama that disrupts our calm. Chasing the illusion of control, we invite unnecessary turmoil into our lives. Each time you utter a yes, that deep down screams no, each draining exchange you endure out of obligation, each betrayal of your own values to keep someone else comfortable. These are bad trades, my friend, trades that yield only bitterness and regret in the long run. You end up with a facade of success that fools the outside world, applause from strangers who don't know your story, trophies and titles that gather dust on shelves, accomplishments that, when you reflect in quiet moments, fail to soothe the growing void inside. The Stoics mastered the art of the walk away, your ultimate leverage in life's negotiations, much like knowing your batna, your best alternative to a negotiated agreement. It's the point where you say, this costs more than it's worth, I'm out. And for the Stoic, peace is always that best alternative, the line you don't cross. When any deal, be it a demanding job, a one-sided friendship, or a turbulent romance, demands your peace as collateral, recognize immediately that the price is far too high and depart. Not in a blaze of fury or dramatic spectacle, but with the cool, collected clarity of one who values their core essence above all fleeting gains. Fear often anchors us in place, doesn't it? The fear of solitude that makes us cling to toxic company, the fear of exclusion that keeps us in groups that don't uplift us, the fear of seeming difficult or ungrateful that silences our boundaries. So we linger in roles that erode our spirit bit by bit, in obligatory ties that feel more like chains, in conditional loves that come laced with constant chaos. But the Stoics knew a deeper truth. The toll of endurance, of staying when every fiber says go, far exceeds the temporary sting of release. You're not safeguarding anything valuable by tolerating what harms you. Instead, you're eroding your very foundation, piece by piece. Victory in Stoicism is building and maintaining an internal fortress, an unshakable peace that stands firm amid the external storms of life. This demands boundaries, not impenetrable barriers, clear, firm lines on what you will allow into your realm and what you won't. True connections, genuine opportunities, and authentic affections, they thrive without requiring you to sacrifice yourself. Your peace is the solid bedrock upon which everything else in your life is built. Compromise it, and the entire edifice crumbles, no matter how impressive it looks from the outside. Cease bartering it away for illusions. Enforce it fiercely, protect it wisely. Choose self-preservation not out of selfishness, but out of a deep understanding that a serene soul, grounded and at peace, contributes infinitely more to the world than a fractured achiever chasing shadows. Declare your unbreakable vow in the comments. My peace comes first. Third truth. Real power, the kind that endures through ages, is measured not by what you hoard or accumulate, but by what you have the strength and wisdom to release into the void. Society, with its relentless focus on more titles, more possessions, more connections, glorifies accumulation as the ultimate marker of triumph, but Stoic wisdom, echoed in the foundational teachings of Zeno and his followers, flips this script entirely. True mastery lies in the art of subtraction, in the quiet courage to sever what no longer serves, to let go of what binds you. Addition is effortless, almost instinctive, saying yes to every shiny lure that crosses your path, clinging desperately to every tie no matter how frayed, amassing complexities like layers of unnecessary armor. But true fortitude, it's found in the deliberate, often painful release, the moments when you choose simplicity over clutter. Walking away from a venomous alliance, even when the specter of loneliness looms large, that's victory in its purest form. Abandoning a lucrative position that's become a gilded cage, imprisoning your essence and stealing your joy, that's liberation worth celebrating. Foregoing the burning urge for vengeance after a deep betrayal, choosing instead to release the poison, that's sovereignty over your emotions. Releasing the compulsion to always be right in every argument, allowing peace to prevail, that's wisdom that echoes through time. We grip so tightly to these things because we've mistakenly fused our identity to them, fearing that letting go equates to losing a part of ourselves, that departure signals failure, that saying no means depriving ourselves of potential. Thus, we persist in silent agony, mislabeling our suffering as duty, as resilience, as unwavering loyalty. But the Stoics drew a sharp distinction. Perseverance builds character when directed wisely, self-imprisonment destroys it. Loyalty elevates when it's mutual, abandonment of self in the name of loyalty diminishes everyone involved. Consider the ancient monkey trap, a simple yet profound metaphor from Eastern wisdom that the Stoics would have appreciated. A baited vessel with a narrow neck, the monkey's hand enters open, grasps the prize inside, but the clenched fist won't withdraw. Freedom is always just a release away, yet the monkey clings stubbornly, becoming captive by its own choice. That's the human condition in a nutshell. Ensnared by outdated jobs we hate but won't leave for the prestige or salary, by draining bonds we won't sever because of the history we've invested, by limiting beliefs we won't question because they're familiar and comfortable in their misery, by grudges we won't release because we mistakenly think our anger is a shield protecting us from further hurt. Stoic living as a winner means understanding that the true prize in life isn't what you collect or conquer, it's what you're discerning enough to relinquish with grace. Masters of life don't clutch desperately, they flow like water, adapting, trusting that what is truly meant for them will align without the need for force or betrayal of self. Take a moment now to survey your own life with honest eyes. What grip is actually your chain? A relationship that's stifling your growth, turning you into a shadow of who you could be. A conviction or belief system that's capping your potential, keeping you playing small. A possession or commitment that's weighing you down like an anchor in stormy seas. Envision the liberty, the lightness, that comes from opening your hand and letting it go. For those summoning the courage to embrace this truth, write in the comments, I walk away with strength. Fourth truth, you are building a private reputation no one else can see or judge, yet. It decides everything you become, every step you take, every victory you claim. In the external world, we're all obsessed with perceptions, how our social profiles gleam, what pops up when someone searches our name, how we're viewed in our workplaces, our communities, our circles. We curate like corporate brands, polishing the surface to shine. But the Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius in his private meditations, focused on auditing the internal ledger, the trust you forge with yourself through 1,000 small, unseen promises kept or broken. Each self-promise shattered, hitting snooze on that early wake-up you swore to, scrolling mindlessly when you committed to reading or learning, silencing your voice in moments when integrity demanded you speak, deposits into an account of self-distrust, eroding your foundation bit by bit. Conversely, honoring your word in the quiet solitude when no one's watching, rising early despite the fatigue pulling you back to bed, choosing integrity over the path of least resistance, pushing through discomfort for the sake of growth, builds an unassailable self-reliance, a reputation with yourself that's worth more than gold. This inner scorecard is what fuels authentic, lasting confidence, not the superficial praise from others, not recited mantras in the mirror, not fleeting compliments that evaporate like morning dew. Real confidence springs from hard evidence that you're reliable to yourself, that when you tell yourself something, you follow through with action. Like how we trust others in the world because their words consistently match their deeds, because they've built a track record of reliability over time, so too must you cultivate that same relationship with the person you see in the mirror every day. Stoic victory demands treating self-promises as sacred oaths, perhaps even more binding than those made to others, because if you can't trust yourself, what foundation do you have left? Betray them repeatedly, and your internal structure cracks wide open, no amount of external validation or redemption can fully mend it. This reputation shadows every choice you make, every quiet moment of reflection, every gaze into the mirror where you confront the truth of who you've become. Cease the vicious cycle of broken vows, the endless tomorrows that really mean never, the self-betrayals that chip away at your spirit. Begin modestly, as the Stoics advised, pick one small habit, one promise, and sustain it relentlessly. Accumulate the proof, brick by brick, that you're someone dependable, someone worthy of your own trust. The true win isn't in impressing the world with grand gestures, it's in becoming someone you respect deeply, someone whose word to themselves actually holds weight and changes everything. Proclaim this commitment. I keep my word to me. Fifth truth, your life will never rise above the standards you enforce when no one is looking, in the quiet corners of your existence. The Stoics understood this profoundly. Your desires are mere whispers in the wind, your tolerances are thundering commands that shape your world. You harvest not what you dream of in lofty visions, but exactly what you permit to take root in your reality. That disrespect you've endured once, perhaps out of politeness or fear, it invites repetition, becoming a pattern. The mediocrity you've accepted in your surroundings, maybe to avoid conflict, it solidifies into the norm you live by. The confined, small existence that feels so far below your potential, it persists precisely because you've settled for it, day after day. This isn't about assigning blame or guilt, it's about reclaiming power, because if your tolerances have created your current reality, then elevating your standards can forge an entirely new one. So, many people harbor grand, inspiring visions for their lives yet endure the bare minimum, craving deep respect but tolerating casual slights and dismissals, yearning for personal growth but embracing the warm blanket of stagnation and comfort, demanding excellence from the world but making endless excuses for their own mediocrity. Your standards form the invisible boundary around your entire life, they determine what gets in, what stays out, what you allow to define you. They're not about judging others from a place of arrogance, they're about honoring your own self-worth enough to declare, this is the minimum I will accept, not because I am superior, but because I know my value and refuse to compromise it. Low bars don't shield you from disappointment, they guarantee it, time and again. When you accept less than you deserve, whether in relationships, work, or self-treatment, you're not being flexible or understanding, you're training the world to see you as optional, as someone whose boundaries are mere suggestions rather than firm lines. Think of it like the principle of water seeking its level. Your life, your experiences, will always rise or fall to match the standards you've enforced, not your vague hopes or untapped potential. Stoic winners embody what they call victor standards, not rooted in ego or arrogance, but in deep self-respect. It means deciding, once and for all, what you will and won't accept, then holding that line with unwavering resolve, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable because that's where true character is forged. This shows up in every facet of life, in how you allow people to speak to you without crossing into disrespect, in the level of effort you accept from others and demand from yourself, in the quality of work you're willing to put your name on, in the environments you choose to remain in the excuses you're no longer willing to accept from your own mind. Elevate your standards quietly, consistently, and watch as everything else rises to meet them, not immediately, not without pushback or resistance from the old patterns, but inevitably, because the universe, life itself, responds to what you demonstrate you'll accept, not just what you say you want in passing. Tolerate no more what diminishes your spirit. Cease making excuses for people who've consistently shown you who they are through actions, not words. Refuse to accept behavior that violates your core values. Walk away from situations that require you to shrink yourself to fit. Set the standard high, hold the line with firm grace, not anger or drama, but with the quiet certainty of someone who knows their worth isn't up for negotiation. Your reality will adjust, it always does when you lead with conviction. For those ready to raise the bar, affirm it here, I deserve better. Sixth truth, the battle you keep postponing, the one you dance around day after day, is the very one that's weakening you daily, hour by hour, sapping your strength in ways you might not even notice. There's a conversation hanging over you like a storm cloud that you need to have, but you keep avoiding it out of fear or discomfort. A decision that's been weighing on your mind, but you defer it endlessly, hoping it resolves itself. A hard truth staring you in the face, but you pretend it's not there, burying it deeper. And with every day you evade it, it grows heavier, more formidable, claiming more of your mental real estate. Stoics like Epictetus urged us to face discomfort head-on, for avoidance masquerades as a form of safety, a protective shell, but in reality, it breeds nothing but stagnation and slow decay. You're trading the sharp, temporary pain of confrontation for the chronic, grinding ache of remaining stuck in the same place. These battles don't simply vanish into thin air, they wait patiently, they grow roots, they compound like interest on a debt you can't afford. That difficult conversation doesn't magically get easier with the passage of time, it hardens, the words become more tangled. That hard decision doesn't become clearer by ignoring it, the fog only thickens. That fear you're running from doesn't shrink while you hide in distraction, it balloons, dominating your thoughts. Most people spend their entire lives, decades upon decades, running from the same handful of battles. The honest talk with a parent that's been delayed for years, the ending of a relationship that's long since died but lingers like a ghost, the career change they know in their gut is necessary but terrifies them, the boundary they need to set with a friend or colleague, the truth they need to speak aloud to themselves. They build elaborate systems, distractions, excuses, rationalizations, to avoid what could often be resolved in a single, decisive moment of courage. And here's the hidden cost that sneaks up on you. Every avoided battle drains your energy, not in obvious, dramatic ways, but constantly, like a slow leak in your life's gas tank. You wake up tired without knowing why, you feel an undercurrent of anxiety with no apparent source, you're irritable in moments that should be calm, you're distracted when focus is needed, because a part of you is always on guard duty, making sure that buried things stay suppressed. What takes more energy than facing your battles head-on, avoiding them, day in and day out? What's harder than having that difficult conversation, carrying the unspoken weight of it for another month, another year, letting it fester? What's more painful than the discomfort of change, staying exactly the same while pretending you've chosen it freely, all while your potential withers? Living as if you've already won in the Stoic sense means facing what you've been avoiding, not because you're suddenly fearless. Fear is human, after all, but because you understand that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the deliberate decision that something, your growth, your freedom, your peace, matters more than the fear itself. Winners don't avoid the hard things, they walk toward them with purpose, because they know it's necessary for evolution. They grasp that the growth they crave, the version of themselves they aspire to, lives precisely on the other side of the discomfort they're dodging. So, that person you need to confront, face them today. That truth you've been swallowing, voice it clearly. That relationship you know needs to end it with compassion. That risk hovering in your mind, take it boldly. That help you've been too proud to ask for, reach out and ask. That forgiveness you've been withholding, from others or yourself, offer it freely. Will it be hard? Undeniably yes. Will it be uncomfortable, perhaps even messy? Absolutely. Will you survive it, emerge stronger? You've survived every hard thing life has thrown at you so far, this won't be different. The moment you stop running and turn to face what you've avoided, something profound shifts, not just in your external world, but internally. You reclaim the power you've been leaking away, drop by drop. You become someone who doesn't hide from their life but engages it fully, head on. The battle you're avoiding is the exact forge where your destined self is waiting to be shaped. If you're done with the postponing, commit to it now in the comments. I face it now. Seventh truth. You are not broken in some irreparable way, you are unfinished, a work in perpetual progress, and that state is perfect in its own right, as the Stoics embraced in their lifelong pursuit of virtue and self-mastery. You've been treating yourself like a problem that needs urgent fixing, like there's something fundamentally wrong at your core, like you're damaged goods that must be repaired, refurbished, or hidden away before you're allowed to fully participate in life, to show up as you are. And that single, pervasive belief, it's costing you everything, your joy, your opportunities, your connections. But here's the liberating Stoic perspective. You're not defective or flawed beyond redemption, you're evolving, developing, a canvas still being painted stroke by stroke. You're not a finished product that's been shattered, you're a work in progress that's exactly where it needs to be in this moment, learning, adapting, becoming. Every great master was once a stumbling disaster, every renowned expert started as a clueless beginner, every person you admire from afar has wrestled with the same doubts, fears, and failures that plague you now. The difference isn't that they were born special, chosen by fate, or naturally gifted without effort, the difference is they didn't quit on themselves when things got brutally hard, when failure stared them down. We live in a world that's masterful at showing you everyone's polished highlight reel while concealing the raw struggle behind it. You see the finished masterpiece painting hanging in the gallery, but not the hundreds of failed canvases thrown away in frustration. You see the thriving business empire, but not the years of barely scraping by, the bankruptcies, the sleepless nights. You see the confident, poised individual commanding a room, but not the private moments where they cried themselves to sleep, wondering if they'd ever figure it out, ever feel whole. So, naturally, you compare your behind-the-scenes chaos to everyone else's curated showreel and conclude that something must be inherently wrong with you. You must be broken in ways others aren't. You must be the only one who struggles this deeply, this persistently. That's the lie that society sells, the trap that keeps you playing small, doubting your place. Living as if you've already won means embracing the Stoic trust in the journey. Every failure isn't a mark against you, it's teaching you lessons that success alone could never impart. Every setback isn't a punishment, it's redirecting you toward paths better suited to your growth. Every moment you feel utterly lost isn't a dead end, it's actually you finding your way, piece by piece. You're not behind schedule, not too late to the party, not ruined by your past mistakes or disqualified by your current shortcomings. You're learning, you're growing, you're becoming, and that process, that beautiful, messy, often uncomfortable process, is exactly what's supposed to be happening right now. Stop waiting to be fixed before you start living fully. Stop believing you need to achieve perfection before you're allowed to try, to fail, to rise again. Stop treating yourself like you're not good enough yet. You're good enough now, not because you're complete, but because you're willing to be unfinished and show up anyway, with all your edges and imperfections. The Japanese art of kintsugi captures this Stoic essence perfectly. When a ceramic bowl breaks, instead of discarding it as worthless or hiding the cracks in shame, they repair it with veins of gold, making the piece more valuable, more unique, more beautiful precisely because of where it broke. The fractures become integral to its story, its character, its enduring worth. That's you. Every crack you despise, every break you've endured, every place you think you're damaged beyond repair is actually where the light gets in, where your true strength emerges. It's where your character is forged in fire, what makes you real, relatable, and remarkably human. In a world full of facades, you're not broken, you're breaking through old limitations. You're not falling apart in chaos, you're falling into place, aligning with your deeper purpose. Trust the process as the Stoics did, amor fati, love of fate. Love the mess, the uncertainty, the growth pains. It is sculpting you into something extraordinary. For everyone still in the midst of their becoming, remember and declare, I am becoming. Eighth truth, your silence in the face of wrong is not neutrality, it's consent, a quiet endorsement that allows what violates your core to persist unchecked. The Stoics valued honest, courageous discourse as a cornerstone of virtue. Muting yourself when something's amiss isn't keeping the peace, it's complicity in the erosion of truth. Witnessing injustice or disrespect and saying nothing isn't being diplomatic or wise, it's being an unwitting participant. Every time you swallow your truth to avoid even the hint of confrontation, you're not protecting the relationship or situation, you're betraying your own integrity, piece by piece. Your silence speaks volumes louder than you might think. It tells people exactly what you'll tolerate, shows them where your boundaries truly lie, not where you claim they are in theory, but in practice. It teaches the world that your comfort, your values, matter less than their convenience or status quo. And here's what inevitably happens. You become invisible in your own life story, a background character watching events unfold that violate everything you believe in, and you say nothing, do nothing. You experience treatment you know deep down you don't deserve, yet you accept it with a nod. You see golden opportunities to speak truth, to stand for something, and you swallow it all in the name of avoiding temporary discomfort. But that discomfort, it doesn't disappear into ether, it just relocates inside you, mutating into resentment that simmers, frustration that builds, self-loathing that whispers in the quiet hours. Why didn't you say something? Why do you always let this happen? Why are you so weak when it counts? The cost of your silence isn't borne by others, it's paid dearly by you, in the currency of self-respect, in your sense of personal power, in your ability to look yourself in the mirror and recognize a person of conviction staring back. Most people stay silent out of fear, pure and simple, fear of sparking conflict that might escalate, fear of being disliked or ostracized, fear of rocking the boat and facing waves, fear of the unknown consequences that come with speaking up. But they rarely pause to consider the far greater consequences of staying silent, the slow betrayal of self, repeated over years, in the name of a false harmony that feels more like a fragile truce. There's a crucial difference between choosing your battles wisely, with strategic restraint, and avoiding all battles out of sheer cowardice, between being diplomatic in approach and being dormant in spirit, between silence that's thoughtful and silence that's fearful. And you know the difference, you feel it in your gut every time you choose the latter, when your soul is screaming to speak but your mouth stays closed. Living as if you've already won means reclaiming and using your voice, not recklessly or crudely, but honestly, with the measured strength of a Stoic. It means saying the thing that needs to be said, even if your voice shakes with the effort, even if the words come out imperfect. It means standing up for what's right, for your values, even if you're standing alone in the arena. It means refusing to participate in your own erasure, to let fear dictate your story. This doesn't turn you into an aggressive confrontational force, it makes you honest, authentic. You say, that doesn't work for me, with calm firmness. You say, I see this differently, and here's why. You say, I need to address something important. You say, this isn't okay, and it stops here. You speak not because you expect to change others overnight, people are stubborn creatures, but because silence changes you, molds you into someone smaller, quieter, someone who matters less and less, starting with how much you matter to yourself. Your voice is your power, your most potent weapon in shaping your world. Your truth is the blade that cuts through illusions. Your willingness to speak when it matters is what separates those who live on their own terms, free and unbowed, from those who live on everyone else's, bent and compromised. Stop outsourcing your voice to fear. Stop letting temporary discomfort silence what needs to be expressed for your own sake. Stop trading your truth for a fleeting, false peace that crumbles anyway. Speak up, even if it's uncomfortable, especially if it's uncomfortable, because that's where growth lives. If you're ready to reclaim your voice and wield it, say it loud in the comments, I speak my truth. Ninth truth. Waiting is the only risk you cannot recover from, as time slips away irrevocably, leaving regrets in its wake. You convince yourself you're being careful, strategic, prudent, waiting for the right time, the ideal circumstances to align, the perfect level of readiness to descend upon you like a gift. But in truth, you're not waiting, you're hiding behind excuses, and dressing it up as wisdom doesn't make it any less destructive to your potential. The right time, it doesn't exist in some objective sense. The perfect moment isn't on its way, calendar in hand. The day when you feel completely ready, without a trace of doubt. It will never arrive, because readiness isn't a passive feeling that washes over you, it's a deliberate decision you make in the face of uncertainty. And waiting for that feeling to magically appear is just fear wearing a clever disguise, stalling your life. Every day you wait to launch that business idea burning in your mind, someone else out there starts theirs, seizing the opportunity. Every day you postpone that crucial conversation, the emotional distance grows wider, the rift harder to bridge. Every day you delay making that life-altering change, you're actively choosing to stay rooted in the same place, the same patterns, and staying the same while pretending you're preparing, isn't strategy, it's self-deception at its finest. We've been conditioned to believe that risk lies in action, in trying something new, in putting yourself out there vulnerably. But the Stoics knew the real, irreversible risk is in waiting, in postponing indefinitely, in letting precious years slip by while you gather a courage that only ever comes from doing the very thing you're afraid to do. You want to know what's truly risky? Dying with your dreams still locked inside you, unexpressed and unrealized. Reaching the end of your life and realizing you've spent it in perpetual preparation instead of bold participation. Looking back with clarity and seeing all the moments you said, someday, when you could have declared, today, all the chances that faded because you hesitated too long. The people you admire, the innovators, the leaders, the trailblazers, didn't wait until they felt fully ready, they started before the fear subsided, and they became ready through the messy process of doing, of iterating, of learning on the fly. They took action that was imperfect, raw, sometimes clumsy, they failed forward, adjusting as they went. They understood that clarity comes from engagement, not endless contemplation. Living as if you've already won means grasping that the starting line is, in many ways, the finish line too. The moment you begin, no matter how small the step, is the moment you've already succeeded, not because the outcome is guaranteed, nothing in life is, but because you've overcome the biggest obstacle of all, inaction, the inertia that keeps most people stuck. You're waiting for confidence to magically appear before you take action, but confidence is born from action itself. You're waiting for crystal clarity to make decisions, but clarity emerges only after decisions are made and tested. You're waiting to feel brave before you move forward, but bravery is precisely moving while you're still scared, still uncertain. Every single day you delay is a day etched in stone, you can't get it back, no matter how much you wish. Every opportunity you postpone might evaporate before you decide you're ready. Every person you're waiting to connect with might move on while you build up courage. Time is the one resource you can't manufacture more of, can't buy back. You can earn more money with effort. You can build new relationships with intention. You can learn new skills at any age. But time, what you have right now is all you'll ever get, and every moment spent waiting is a moment you're choosing not to spend living fully. Stop waiting for permission from the universe or others. Stop waiting for perfect conditions that never come. Stop waiting for fear to disappear, it won't, it's part of the human package. Do it afraid, do it imperfectly, do it now, today. The graveyard is overflowing with people who were forever waiting for the right time, don't join their ranks. Start messy if you must. Start scared if that's your truth. Start today, because waiting is the real risk you can't afford to take any longer. For those choosing action over endless delay, affirm it, I start today. 10th truth. This moment, right here, as you read these words, is all the proof you will ever need of your inherent worth, your resilience, your victory. You've been on a lifelong search for proof that you're enough, that you're worthy of love and success, that you truly matter in this vast universe. You've scanned the external world for it, in achievements that temporarily boost your ego, in relationships that validate your existence, in validations from others that feel good but fade, in successes that promise fulfillment but often deliver more hunger. And every time you look outside for evidence of your internal worth, you come up empty-handed, chasing shadows. But here's what you've overlooked in that pursuit. You already have all the proof you need, it's not coming from some future horizon, it's here, unfolding in real time. You're experiencing it right now. The fact that you're here, engaging with these ideas, is undeniable proof. Proof that you've survived every single thing life has thrown at you, the heartbreaks, the failures, the doubts that tried to break your spirit. Proof that you're still seeking answers, still committed to growth, still trying even when exhaustion tempts you to quit. Proof that something unbreakable within you refuses to give up, even when surrender would be the easier path. You're here, still breathing deeply, still standing tall after storms, still fighting quietly for a better version of yourself in your life. That's not weakness or luck, that's irrefutable proof of your strength, your resilience, the quiet victory you've already claimed time and again. Every breath you take is proof of your aliveness, your vitality in a world that can be harsh. Every challenge you've faced and overcome, no matter how small, is proof of your capability to endure and adapt. Every time you've gotten back up after being knocked down is proof that you're unbreakable at your core. Every moment you've chosen growth over the lure of comfort is proof of your deep commitment to becoming more. You don't need external validation to confirm you matter, it's already etched in your story. You don't need towering achievements to prove your worth, it's inherent. You don't need other people's approval to know you're enough, it's self-evident in your persistence. The proof lies in your presence here, in the fact that life has tested you repeatedly, in loss, in pain, in uncertainty, and you're still here, still evolving. Living as if you've already won means recognizing that you yourself are the proof, not what you've accomplished on paper, not what you own or display, not what others whisper about you. You, your existence, your journey through highs and lows, your willingness to keep showing up even when it's hard, that's the victory you've been seeking elsewhere. Stop waiting for some future accomplishment to finally validate your worth, to make you feel like you've made it. You've already made it by being here, conscious and striving. This moment right now is all the proof you need that you're exactly where you need to be, not behind the curve, not ahead in fantasy, but here, in this specific instant, with this specific experience, learning precisely what you need to learn, becoming exactly who you need to become. You've been treating proof like a prize to earn through effort, but proof isn't earned, it's recognized, claimed in the now. And once you recognize that your very existence is proof enough of your worth, everything shifts. You stop performing for invisible audiences. You stop proving yourself endlessly. You start living freely, authentically. The evidence of your worth isn't waiting in some distant future, it's written boldly in your past survival and present persistence, in every moment you didn't give up, in every time you tried again despite odds, in every breath that declares, I'm still here. I'm still trying, I still believe there's more for me. That's your proof, that's your victory, that's everything you need. If you recognize your own unassailable worth, state it with conviction, I am enough. You endured to the very end of this journey, a testament to your resolve, your inner strength, where so many would have faltered or scrolled away halfway through. That alone proves something powerful about who you are, about the victor already residing within. These 10 truths we've explored aren't mere ornaments for your mind or quotes to admire from afar, they're Stoic arsenals, weapons forged in ancient wisdom for your daily battles. They demand deployment. Pick one today and wield it in your next decision, your next conversation, your next moment of doubt. Then another tomorrow, building momentum. The world doesn't need more hollow achievers, chasing externals while empty inside. It needs people like you who've remembered they've already won the internal game and now move through life with that unshakable knowledge, complete, needing nothing from the outside to feel whole. Your peace, your power, your life, they were never waiting in some vague future. They're here, waiting for you to stop postponing and start claiming them with both hands. If this has ignited a real change within you, a spark that's ready to become a flame, don't let it flicker out, hit that like button to fuel it. Share this video with someone who's tired of the chase, who needs this Stoic reminder. Drop your biggest takeaway in the comments to solidify it. Subscribe, because we're building a community of victors here. Echo these affirmations in the comments so I know you're with me, ready to live them. I belong here. My peace is non-negotiable. I release what no longer serves. I keep my word to myself. I deserve better. I face it now. I am becoming. I speak my truth. I start today. I am enough. And to seal your commitment, write the final one. I live like I've already won. Now, go forth and embody it in every breath, every step, eternally. See you in the next one, warrior.